Hi friends. Back in April, Jagex announced they were going to be doing some rebalancing to a number of bosses in RuneScape, and when they say rebalance, they mean horribly nerf. Then in late May, they posted a huge dev blog outlining the problems with the boss drops and the specific changes they were going to make to them. Pretty much every line on this page is a nerf. One boss that stood out to me though was Arch-Glacor. This boss is unique because it's the only boss where you can toggle its mechanics on and off. By toggling off most or all of its mechanics, you're able to AFK it and receive pretty decent loot and XP with pretty low requirements. This blog post basically says that they're going to completely gut this method, so if you want any actual loot from now on, you're going to have to fight the boss with its mechanics on, and even then, the drops are still going to be worse. But when I looked at the stats they posted about the boss, I got really alarmed. They claimed that the Arch-Glacor was responsible for 95% of Banite stone spirits entering the game, 81% of spiritweed seeds, 95% of crushed nests, and 55% of uncut dragonstones and crystal keys. These are all very useful items, especially for Iron Men, so if this boss isn't a viable source for obtaining them anymore, they're going to be very difficult to source going forward. And that's not even to mention the charm drops. Arch-Glacor has maybe the best charm drop rate in the game. It's how I got 99 summoning. And if they butcher the charm drop rate, which they said they would, then 120 summoning would be way harder in the future if I ever go for that. So with all of that in mind, I decided to AFK Arch-Glacor until the nerf actually happened. Originally, I expected the nerfs to come in after like a week or two, but it ended up being a full month and a half. I didn't expect to make a video when I started this grind, so there's a few things I didn't really keep track of very well at the beginning, so sorry about that. I ended this month and a half grind with a total of 19,101 kills. I don't remember exactly how many I had before this grind, but I think it was about 4,500, so this would have been just shy of 15,000 kills. I think I was at like level 110 or 111 necromancy at the start, and I finished at 126 million XP. Which is way more than I expected. I didn't even think I'd get close to 120 when I started. On top of that, Arch-Glacor drops a ton of effigies, which give a pretty decent chunk of XP in various skills. Each effigy is worth roughly 138,000 XP, split between 4 or 5 skills. In the end, I got a total of 165 of them, which totals to over 22 million XP. In terms of just raw GP drops, I think I got around 95 mil. It's hard to say exactly because I also spent an unknown amount of GP during this month and a half, but that's the general ballpark. For charms, I got a pretty ridiculous amount, about 85,000 crimson and blues. If I use the Spirit Weaver relic power, this is actually enough blue charms for 120 summoning, which is fantastic. Originally I had gold and green charms set to be destroyed, but at one point in this grind I made a joke to Sam about Jagex making the 110 summoning update require all 4 charms. I was joking, but I kind of psyched myself out like, wait, what if they actually do that? So I changed the settings to pick up gold and greens too. I ended up with 256 mil worth of alchables, which is awesome. I also got a total of 45 onyx, which is maybe more than I'll ever use. Most of that was onyx dust, which is 1/100th of an onyx, but 4 of those were full onyx drops, which have a drop rate of 3 in 16,000. It's 3 because each kill gives you 3 drops. I got nearly 1,800 pages. Each one adds 45 minutes of charge to your manuscript of when, so that's a total of 1,336 hours of uptime. And that's not counting the other 463 pages I already had banked. Now, I don't actually have a manuscript of when, but if I ever get one, I'll pretty much be set for life. I also got 1.8 million anima, which can be used to make god arrows. If you include the other anima I had banked, that's nearly 2.8 million, which seems like a lot, but god arrows seem to go so fast it's probably still not enough. For materials, I ended up with almost 15,000 dragon stones, which will probably all be turned into porters, 16,000 water talismans, which I'll use for summoning, 2.9k Hydrix bolt tips, which honestly are probably just going to sit in the bank, over 5,000 crystal keys, which are going to be a huge pain in the ass to use, and I have another 2,000 in my bank, so it's just going to suck. 24,000 Bane stone spirits, which I'll probably use as a source of GP later. If I mine and smith them all, I think that's like 600 mil. I got 26,000 bird's nests, which are used to make Sarah brews, and 3.6k spiritweed seeds, so I should probably never run out of spiritweed. In terms of rares, I ended up with 37 Nihilus. I'll use those to make the wings. As far as I know, they're the only wings that you can make instead of buy, so I think that's pretty cool. I also got 114 Serenic scales. I plan on keepsaking a set of Serenic armor because I think it looks cool, so those are nice to have. And 64 reroll tokens for Zamorak, which I'll probably never use. I also got over 400 Triskelion keys, which will probably also be super annoying to use, but not as bad as the crystal keys. I'm also going to be really sad if I get a dragon pickaxe from them, because I just spent like 2 weeks killing Chaos Dwarfs for one right before this grind. I got an absolutely absurd number of marks of war. At one point I even hit the cap. I didn't even know there was a cap before this. I ended up spending all of them on tier 2 aura refreshes, so now I have another 230 hours of penance to use. Finally, I ended up with 3,273 troves. You get 9.5 per hour, which means I was at Glacor for about 343 hours. After giving myself carpal tunnel and reducing the lifespan of my mouse, I finally opened all of them, and this is the result. An extra 67 million GP in Alks, 46 more Onyx, which is somehow even more than I got from my normal drops, a ton of extreme ranging and magic potions, which is great for overloads, and a full 3 quivers. Super happy with the result of this grind. Rest in peace to the GOAT Iron Man boss. Nathan, I'll see you on Friday.